Hello, viewer. Welcome to today's episode of Women's View. I'm your host, Anne Moremi, and I'm so happy to be with you once more. Thank you so much for the feedback and the comments that we've been getting on social media. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook. The handle is GBS TV Africa. We're also thankful for the SMSs that keep coming. The number to use is 21144. So today is another lovely day, and we are in studio, and we have a very interesting topic today. We're going to be talking about raising future parents. We have our children, and we are seeing them, and you know, when we see what is happening in society, sometimes the way that children are, for example, banning schools, you know, just the way they're behaving, are we raising people who are going to be able to be future parents? That's the question for today, and we've got an amazing guest. And yeah, she's going to introduce herself shortly. But I want to give my co-host a chance to also introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good week and a good day so far. We are here again. My name is Lillian. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to delve into the topic. Karibu.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So please introduce.
The full introduction.
Yes, yeah. Introduction. However much you want to do it. I know there's so much to say about you, but you pick what you want to talk about most. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Sylvia Moraa. Good day to everyone. I am a mother of 3 boys. I am the founder of Andy Speaks for Special Needs Person, the CEO of Tech Hub Holdings, where we do graphic design, branding, and printing, and many other responsibilities on top of being a Rotarian, and service to humanity is one of the things that I enjoy. And of course, parenting. 2 of my kids are special needs, so that makes it a bit extra special, and addition of extra strength in everything that you do. Yes.
You're a mother of 3.
3, yes.
And tell us about the top women in business nomination.
Oh, yes. As the founder of Andy Speaks, we champion for inclusion of persons with disabilities, and specifically neurodevelopmental disabilities. 2 of my children are autistic, and they're on the autism spectrum disorder with a comorbid of epilepsy. And then the last one has ADHD. And the journey I've walked is what led me to do that. So I've been championing for inclusion of our children and the caregivers in society in matters education, health, and social protection. And as also a career woman, my efforts in trying to bring this change were celebrated last year by Top Women in Business. I was also an honorary for Zuri Awards last year. And in 2 weeks' time, we will know if I will garner any during the DIAR Awards at Zari Center. That is Disability Inclusion also Awards for 20, because of COVID. It was supposed to be last year, but because of COVID, it has been postponed to this year.
We are rooting for you, girl.
Yeah.
So let us know how to vote if you need
Voting ended.
So now come.
May they be counted by the right person.
May there be no Form 16 appearing and
I know, yeah.
Yes, let us hope that.
And look at her. You're so well put together. I mean, you don't look overwhelmed by the fact that you've got 2 children who are special needs. Mm-hmm. You've been able to thrive in business, to thrive in fashion, to thrive in parenting. How are you managing and coping with all these things? Because you don't look overwhelmed at all. I would expect you to be really overwhelmed.
I have my days of being overwhelmed, but one thing that I thank God for my mom is teaching me how to plan and organize yourself. It used to be like one of those things that were very, very strict. Time for this, time for that. You need to do this correct. And then learn to be independent and manage. And as a single woman, as a single parent, there is no alternative. I can't say I'll wait for someone else to come and do it. I have to do it or do it.
You got to manage.
There is no 2 ways to it.
Yeah.
And everything you do, you have to look ahead.
Okay.
So I usually look like spread my days. Today is the day for office, 24/7. Today is a split day. Today is this. Today I'm Miss Africa. Tomorrow I am Mama so and so. You know, and I live like me time. That's one of the things that we don't do as women. My Saturdays, even the boys know, unless I have nothing to do, I'll be home. But I'll either be doing my Rotary work, that is volunteer, and giving my time to others, or I will be out with the girls, or out doing my hobbies from Friday.
Time.
Fridays, if there is now with COVID, there's no party. But I allow myself to party.
You look for ways.
You look for something to do.
Yes.
And then Sunday is family day. So, And every day you go home, of course, and you give them time. And now you have to give up something that is most of the time you work. If your work has to be continued, their sleep, you push like until midnight, 1 a.m., get things done.
Wow. Sounds like it takes a lot of discipline.
I think
Thank
so.
you.
I
That
think
is
so.
it. That
Wow.
is it.
Yeah, to
That
just
is
leave
it.
some time for yourself, because I think for women it's like there's always something to do.
There is.
When
yes.
I think about having children and having a home, even just having a house, even when it's like, even if it was just a bed sitter, there's always some dust to wipe, something to tidy, you know.
Exactly.
Some clutter.
Busybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So what I hear you talk about the two last children. Do you think the firstborn sometimes feels a bit left out? Have you ever felt like that?
I feel that way, but we have the conversation with him. The other thing is involving the entire family, like in decision making. What do you guys want to do? Like, do you think the boys, we call them the boys, do you think the boys are being too much for you? Do you need time out? What do you want? We have our own dates. Like, we can go for pizza, just the two of us. Or we take a drive. There's a time we did a road trip to Samburu for like a whole weekend. We got lost. That's an adventure he'll never forget. You know, and it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
So long as he's involved and he understands the situation, and I think life also taught him that not everyone stays. Like, because you see, now I had to also prepare him. Just because your dad left doesn't make you any less. It's not your fault, and all these other things. So that conversation of like, you're an individual and family comes first.
Yeah.
Like, for us, you see, when the nannies come and go, so that's something that really affects our children.
It does.
So I was,
They're
they've bonded, and this person is gone, and they don't get to understand. So one thing I always tell my eldest son is like, it's us till that, like me and you ride or die, and your brothers. Anything, we come first.
Yeah.
So everyone else will come through our lives. Even if I go back to dating, you're not guaranteed, you know, and stuff like that. So when you have those conversations, yeah, it helps. So he doesn't get that extra overwhelm, and he will tell me and be like, Mom, I can't concentrate, you know, because the boys are a handful. So that's where either you come in or you ask the nanny to support and stuff like that.
Just to help us understand, how old is the firstborn and how old is the second and third, so that we can have an idea of what we're talking about?
My firstborn is 14 and a half. The secondborn is 10 and a half. My young love is he's too loving for life. My last born,
Baba.
Yeah, he turned 9 1 week ago. 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Oh, your children
yeah.
are quite big.
Yeah. So that's my last born is 9. So I'm like, yeah, we get to 10 and we're like, okay, now we get into a new department of teenage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, how, you know, it's very interesting that already, even before we've gotten into the topic so much, you've already brought up your mom. And you've already said that your mom prepared you to be where you are today by helping you to be very disciplined.
Yeah.
And, you know, a big shout out to her wherever she is.
Yeah, Mom. Yeah, like today she's having her day off.
And she's thriving. I mean, she's faced so many challenges you have,
Yeah.
but you're being able to overcome.
Yeah.
And already you've given a shout out to your mom. And that's what we're talking about today. As parents, are we raising children, keeping in mind that they are going to be future parents, keeping in mind that they're going to be future spouses, and people in the community, you know? Do you think about that, like when you're raising your children?
Yeah, there is one thing I've instilled in my kids is that, you know, the way we were told, elders, respect your elders. I think we lost that somewhere.
Yes.
Remember back when we were
Stand up
growing
for
up,
them.
if a grown-up walks in, you know, like my son will find my neighbor unpacking and he will carry the bags for him. That's how I've done it. Because you see, that means he's able to help everyone else. I bring him to my charity events, like even the disability events, so he understands it's not just the reality of everyone has typical life. Everyone has different challenges. And the minute they embrace that difference, that means in everything they do, they'll be able to see things from a different perspective.
Yes.
I've raised him to be a champion for his brothers. Like when we moved in somewhere and when the kids were calling them out to play, they were like, don't bring your brothers. And in our family, if you can't go, all of you, none of you is going. You need that. That's unity. I got your back. So I was very proud because it was a Saturday and they were playing and I was listening and he was like, there's nothing wrong with my brothers. They're okay. You just need to take time and involve them and you will understand them. You know, so he already understands like there is the difference, but you don't have to segregate because of that. So when we're raising our kids, they need to get to understand that there is the difference in respect, the difference of age, there's difference in character, and how we've been brought up. Because the next time, you can imagine as an adult, you've never seen a child with disability. The next time you see one, you know, of course, you wouldn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And on top of that, there is that society fabric. Like they go to my mom for like 2 weeks a month. You know, that's family. Yeah. And I'm like, you have to help your mom with chores, you're given this. But you know, of course, our mothers, they forget the way they beat us. Then they really pump her.
Absolutely.
I'm like, there's a time I asked my mom, what happened to you, man? Why are you allowing him to do this? He's like, no, I can't. I'm like, you did it to me.
I know. They really forget.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So there's those integrity, social skills and soft skills of how to just live with other people is one of the core things that we have to. Because you see, with that, and then now you tell them the importance. My son will not, even my special kids, if we're in the supermarket, if they're like, Mom, I want this, if I say no, it's no. You understand? Because they have understand. Yeah, my no is my no. And because when bringing them up, it's no, because we've gone through hardships. There are days I had one meal so that they can have 3. Yeah. You see, so they've gone also through this and they can see the difference. So my son really appreciates where we've come from a complete family to broken to us building ourselves to where we are right now. So those are the things your kids observe. There is a day I told my son, like, please take care of that trouser. It was very expensive. Do you know, like for his birthday, you know what he told me? Why did you have to buy me an expensive whatever? No, it's not, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't have told him. But you see, he understands the sense of money, because he'll be the same person who will tell me, I want to do something for you guys, but things are tough. It's like, it's not important. We are together.
Wow,
you understand? Because that's how now that mentality shapes them.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, oh, you want this here, and he understands. If you want, like, he really wants a bike, I'm like, you maintain a certain you will get it. But I can't afford it right now. I would love to, because he kept his whatever, he became top of his class, and I'm like, it's COVID. I can't. I explained, what else can I substitute because of the financial strains we are all having?
Yeah.
You understand? That conversation, it makes it easier for them to be like team players, instead of just like, you said you didn't keep your word. You say, no, he can't hold it, I guess, because I've explained. It's the same thing when he does wrong. You've done this, why did you do this? No. Me, I don't spare the road, I'm sorry. Even my special needs kids know, I raise my voice, they know, hey, Mom, chape. Let's talk about it. So
you know what, let me interrupt you a little, because right now, there's a group of people who feel that part of the reason why we are seeing a lot of violence in society is because of using the road.
I don't think
Have you encountered such people?
No, I haven't.
I have actually, because they say that people do what they see. So when you spank a child, they get violent, and then now that's why the violence.
But you're spanking them for what reason? That's what I'm talking about. Conversation. You see, like, why did you do this? Na. Give me that one because I'm doing this. You understand? Yes. We know why. That is discipline. You know. Okay. But then you just would have let no explanation. The kid, you don't even give them time. You know, they don't participate. Like, or like, oh, sorry, I did it, or I didn't do it because XYZ made it. Because my son will tell me, I'm like, you haven't done your homework. Be like, but I was busy with my brothers. Yeah. You see, so now I will understand why. Although it got to a point, he was like, that's our getaway. Yeah. You know?
They forever excuse that works for me.
So now that's when now you also have to know, like, how much and how far you let it go. Okay. And you need to be able to be so close to identify when things are changing. Because now he's becoming a teenager. I can't raise my hand. Yeah. You know?
And he's stronger than you.
He's taller than me. Like, I'm looking at him like this. Yeah.
I hear you, and I've had someone say that you're teaching children that when they get angry, they must hit someone. But I like what our guest is saying, that it's not si kutoa stress. It's measured punishment for a reason, and you explain the reason. The other thing I've heard you say is that you explain to the children what's going on, and it must have been very difficult already just for you, without being a mother, for you as a woman to go through a separation. How did you first of all digest that experience and then explain it to the children?
Yeah.
Like,
but the first one, the first one is not special needs. Yeah? No, it's a little too.
Yeah. Okay. And then it was very young. My marriage ended when my son was 3 weeks old. Practically 9 years ago. No, the last one was 3 weeks old. Wow. It was actually around now. like next week is when I left, but the strife was already there because I'd just given birth, and then I had an operation like on the 13th of February. Then I gave myself like 2 weeks to really decide if I really wanted to stay in the marriage or not. But the thing is, you have to agree, because you see, when we're being raised, we are taught you have to stick through it for the kids.
Yes,
yeah?
That's a very common.
This was the third separation and final to divorce. I had already separated before. When our parents tried to make us work things out, the story was like, there is a child here, you have another one on the way. You're not the only ones who are going through, you know, difficult times. We have gone through it, but we stuck through it. You see, like when we were having financial issues, my mom would be like, you know, funika aibu. Like, you know, pay the bill, but indirect, like give him the money to pay. And I'm like, now that's where now the in-between of raising is like, it doesn't change the fact it's my money. The fact that he's the one who's just removing it out in public, you know, but then these are different schools of thoughts. So when you try what you've been advised, remember everyone can advise you, but final decision lies on you as an individual. So by the time I up and left, it was my enough is enough, you know, because at the end of the day, our parents will go back to their marriage and their life. I'm the one stuck in this union. I'm the one who's stuck to be a mother, to be a wife. And for me, like, because Andrew and Brad are very close, because they're like 18 months apart. I was not ready for this. It was overwhelming. To add now marital issues was a bit too much. I'd already gone through depression because, and even suicidal, because I lost a kid between my firstborn and my secondborn. You know? So all these life's pressures, the things that life throws at you, no one prepares you for some of them, but you have sometimes to just find it in you to get yourself out of it, because you're the only person who can depend on. Because if I look at it and I'm like, I tried to stick it through because of my child, and things are not changing. Is this what I want for the rest of my life? Because those are decisions. We have to also teach our children to be selfish. Yes, I'm thinking about my kids, but I was me before I was a mother. I was me before I was a wife. Even that I came to this world, you named me. Then I'm like, yes, my son is, you understand? But I have my own identity. That's one thing we don't embrace such. So it took a while to really go through it and accept. I went through my own depression, because life was how you're starting life from zero. You're nursing CS, you're nursing an appendectomy wound, you're nursing 3 kids. You've just been told your child is special needs, because I just found out Andrew was special needs. So there was too much for me to handle at that time. So one of the things my best friend has taught me is always deal one thing at a time. So like if I list and I'm like, okay, this is the issue, what is the easiest? Let's offload it one by one. And then it makes it easier even in all the other challenges in life. So small principles that we learn to always come through in very special ways that you never know. And you know, she's you were able to communicate with your son, especially your firstborn, about what was happening. But he could see. You see, the thing is, some of the things we do, as much as our key marriages, we won't fight in front of the kids, go to your room and deal, but you can feel the tension, the lack of communication, you know, the ambience, there is that vibe that you will always tell. You know, like when you walk into a room and you can feel that aura of, things are taking here.
The children can also sense it.
Yeah, they can also sense it. But he saw, like when we tried co-parenting, and he would say, pick him up, come like 4 p.m. or not show up, give an excuse. He was like 4 at the time, he had gone to school. He could understand. That's the mistake we make, that he's a kid, he'll not, you know, he'll forget. My son has never forgotten. You know, so what you need to do is, and the other thing is like, this doesn't change, this is your dad. I don't talk ill of him, but I will always encourage him to be the best version he can be, you understand, of himself, because that's the only encouragement. And you know, like, treat women right. That is how he will know a woman is supposed to be treated a certain way. And their godfather also now brings in that male voice, and they have that conversation. As much as I'm a single parent, it's always good, because I have one brother who's not in the country. So like one of my friends is like the godfather, and there is the male things that I can't, you know, start. And I'm like, hey, by the way, I think it's about time. You see, I'm seeing this behavior as you talk, you know, you slide on, you guys take a drive and, you know, talk about things. Because I think sometimes maybe he can't tell me.
Yeah, because
you
you're
know,
a lady.
I'm a lady.
Feels like
yeah.
he needs a male person to communicate with.
Yeah, so that I allow for that. Okay. So, and then that way they understand there are also different levels of friendship. Like if I'm dating, I'll tell him, hey, what do you think of this person, by the way? I am. Because when I talked to him about dating, what do you expect? And I was like, it's not your time. So he went ahead one time and tried to have a, you know, a girl. No, first he came in like, this chick is disturbing me. I'm like, oh, disturbing you. Okay, how? So I was so happy that he was able to come to me and tell me. I was like, and how do you feel about it? Like, no, we said, you know. So I'm like, oh, Fuchs, it landed back. But then later, you know, when you notice, then I'm like, hey, how is the girlfriend thing? We're just doing a random drive. And he's like, imagine I tried to, and it was so painful. I'm like, painful, what happened? And I'm like, and I'm like, no, you see, you have the conversation. I'm like, but we agreed that that's for later. He's like, now I understand because she left me. I'm like, you know, he's in a mixed boarding school. So these things are bound to happen.
They do.
So, and he's like, no, it just didn't feel good. It was painful. I was like, were you able to study? No, I couldn't. I was just feeling something is wrong. So I told him that, you see, that explaining. That is why I say this is time for books.
Yeah.
When you finish, times for girls will come and you will have the time and the space for it. So you understand, he's gone, he's made the mistake, and whatever I said now makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah? I did tell him, I don't want to see you. You know, if you touch a girl, she'll get pregnant. You're factual about things.
Yeah.
So some of these small things, and then use stories to even communicate. When things are a bit difficult, but at least drive the point home.
Yeah, that's nice. Wow.
Do you almost feel like, can you adopt me?
Like, I need to move into this family. I know. I have a lot to learn. I'm also a mother of boys, and I'm happy to hear you say that they come to you with these things because these things are normal, and the way you respond gives them information about whether we should come again next time. So if you want to keep the relationship going, what I'm hearing is communication. Because if they're going to be parents, if they're going to be spouses, their communication skills need to be on point. So that's already, you're answering the question just by the way you're dealing. And one thing I really am liking about her, Lillian, I don't know if you remember that us guys were raised by a village. You know that it takes a village. It takes a village. I've had to talk about your mom. I've had to talk about your friend, your brother who's not around, your godfather. You know, nowadays people tend to think that this is my child. I am the one who decides.
Don't tell me.
Even when, first of all, never tell me anything negative. You know, I find that to be very wrong with our society because it does take a village. And for you, I can see that you do have a village that you use.
You can't do it alone. You know, most of we think that, oh, my child, my way, I can. But the truth is, that child will learn how to manipulate you. You never know. Because I'll know. There is something I was reading, because I always wondered, when I walk into the house, it's so nice and calm. When I enter, the world breaks down. You know, so I'm like, honey, what do I bring into this house? You know. But then I was told, like, safe space has arrived. You know, rules that can be broken. That is now how they feel. There is like,
rules can be broken has arrived.
But then they want also to just be free and loose and whatnot. But that's the thing. Like like I said, I usually work late. So my kids know when I say I'm busy, I need to work. You know, they understand when I say I need to lock my room. I leave my door open even at night because my kids can wake up and come at night. And because of the comorbid of the convulsive disorders, my child can have a seizure. You don't want to run and start struggling with doors, you know, so you leave that open. That open door policy. But that means that when you communicate, like right now, I can't attend to you because like what I was saying, my last born baby is love, because he's too loving. You know, he came at a time, that's what I was like. A source of like he's going to be, because like he says like, I love you, mommy. He can sense, are you okay? You know, there's a day I was down, I didn't even know I was. Then he said, mommy, are you okay? I'm sorry, whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, you're such a darling. A lot on my mind, and my eldest was like, Mom, what is stressing? I'm like, who's stressed? I'm not stressed. He was like, no, you're stressed, something is wrong. I'm like, why? I was like, because you love that song and you didn't move. You know, there are things we don't realize. You know, so I was like, oh really? I was like, normally that song comes, you put on the volume, you start dancing, and now you're just staring at the road. I was like, okay. You know, they're a mirror of all the things, like the things you don't notice. Yeah. But then it's all based on that relationship and how much you allow them into your space as much as you are in their space. There are those days I get home and I'm like, nobody talked to me, nobody touched me, and they were like, okay, today is one of those days. You understand? And it's not like the days I don't scream. I scream, I want to pull off my hair. That the days I will, what I realize is I don't allow my stress outside to come inside, right? So it's either I will take a few minutes in the car before I go upstairs to align me. Then now I'm like, okay, we're entering zone, I call them department A, B, C. So I'm like my other JD, I'm walking into it. Because, you know, they will come like, hey, mommy. And so you can imagine if you come with your negativities, and they're like, you furad, and it's not a good thing. Then now they'll just be like, because for me, I remember growing up, it wasn't the same for me. Like I didn't have full access to my dad. Like if I wanted something, mommy, see you tell. You know, there was that thing of like, if I want something, I write a note, I put it by his bedside, then I'll get my feedback through my mom. You see, that was different. So it's about bettering, but bettering and mixing the different skills. You know, there is that thing of how you were raised. There is that thing that didn't work so well. You would have wished to be better. You know, like even if it's spending time, there is just being in the house together. Then there is spending time. You understand? Like doing things together. There are days we lie on the floor, be silly, and do those things. You're part of whatever they are. And there are days they're doing that today. So you understand? And then that way they know boundaries, they know schedules, they understand like it's not always the same. There are bad days, there are good days. And also you understand like what is making you annoyed. Like for my kids who are not verbal, like Andrew cannot express emotion. Although he has learned these days, we are told he's not my friend, and I know, okay, here goes the downwards. You know, so at least I know he's upset over something. But before he couldn't do that. Before he couldn't do that, it would just be like breaking noise and that's what autism is. And remember, when you get a special child, no one tells you. And by the time I got Andrew, I'd even forgotten about parenting. That's the other thing. So when he comes, I'm having expectations. Like, oh, you should be talking, you should be what, you should be. And that's a disappointing thing for parents. The other thing I had to tell myself is, there is a child I wished for, but there is the child God has given me. He's not like this glass I bought in the supermarket. I tell them, I got home and I don't think I like this glass. Here is your receipt and get it. You know, there is no RTS to children. So love your child and embrace them for who they are. Teach them things according to how they understand. But before you embrace that and know them, because you know, when you know and understand your child, it makes it easier and better for you to be able to handle them the way they will be able to also be who you want them. Because it's two-way. They have expectations for you as a parent, and you have expectations of them as a child.
Wow. I'm learning so much, and you know, I love what you said, that there's a child I wanted and there's a child I got, and you did have to make that mental shift to love the child you got. I think that is very deep and it's very powerful. And guess what? We need to take a break. Viewer, keep it right here. We'll be right back after the break. Thank you. Welcome back, viewer. Today we're talking about raising future parents, and basically we're saying that we are the parents who are going to who have children now, but in a few years' time, our children are going to be the parents, they're going to be the spouses, they're going to be the leaders. Are we raising them with that in mind? And our guest is here. She's gone through a lot in life. I mean, at one point, she was a hawker. Okay, well, let me say a bit glorified, because she wouldn't really sell on the streets. She would go from office to office, just selling her wares. And you see, you are able to say that the rejection you faced then made you a strong person, and it prepared you for the future.
Not everyone will say yes, and it's okay.
It's okay. I know from somebody it's okay. It's okay. The next, even if 3 people say no, the next one will say yes.
Just for the sake of the viewer, just take us through that part of your life where you
what was happening?
So I was in Alliance. There is expectations in life.
All the boxes are being ticked. You are
down. Everybody sit down.
Sit down. Okay.
So there is that notion that life puts, like, if you're this brilliant, if you're this, you should fit in a certain box. So I'm supposed to go to medical school. I'm supposed to be, Professor XYZ.
I know.
But I am strong-willed that I had, you see, the thing we get mentorship in Alliance of Careers, and I am an artist, I draw, and I've been drawing all my life. I've done art till Form 4, so I wanted to further it to now, I'm now a graphic designer, brand consultant. That was not a career then, so of course my dad would be like, there is no way I'm wasting my money to take you to Alliance. Then you start going to what college to do things that are not even, nobody knows, because I was looking at animation, because that was futuristic from my research. So I was told then I'm not paying fees, so I had to hustle. So I was packing soap at EPZ in Ruaraka for a while. You know, we used to go sit outside the DO's. Imagine, we used to sit outside the DO's office asking, kuna kazi leo? Then you're told, come tomorrow, until the day the opening came. But you see, that taught me patience. You understand? And going out to look and create opportunities. I worked at the EPZ for a while because I was saving to take myself to the college I wanted. Because there is that college that I wanted.
Which college had you been called to? Did you go to uni?
No, I didn't. I was called, but I didn't go because I was going to do a course I don't want.
Which course was that?
Do I even remember?
But whatever it was, you're like,
that was not it. Yes.
And so you, and of
because my first choice was to
do.
I actually chose uni because of I still chose architecture, fine. But then there was BIFA. But then I was doing these things in high school. Why should I repeat what I had done? So I wanted to better, like, what's the next level? Look at the next opportunities, and that's what I wanted. And there was only one school that was already doing computers, like computer-aided design. It's called CAD. So the things that we're doing right now with computers then. But you see, now our parents, they couldn't get that. To them, first of all, computer, that's when it was starting. Zile za kutype 1, 2, 3. Exactly. So after that, I got a job as, I remember it was called Global Prime Masters. My dad would hike a ride with him in the morning. He drops me in Gara. I walk there. We are given, this is for today, you're given like a 10 minutes training. This is the price. This is the sales pitch. But you see, now I'm a pro in sales. You understand? And all that. And that thing of my dad telling me I'm not going to, I had to find a way. So that's why I'm an entrepreneur. In high school, when someone was being given sijua K pocket money, mimi nilikuwa napewa 1,000. You do your shopping, you take yourself to school, you go to the salon, and you know everything was, so you learn budgeting. And from that, then I started, because I'm an artist, I used to make cards in school and sell them. So that made me the entrepreneur that I was, because now I had extra income. I could get my extra things that I wanted. So, but you see, when your parent is doing this, subconsciously you're being built. But for me, when at that point, it was, my dad doesn't love me, he doesn't care for me. Because you see, I mean, Alliance, we're having ministers' kids from where, the guys are being brought for the whole supermarket. Yeah, of course, you feel rejected. I'm not loved enough. I didn't have daddy stories like, oh, holidays we did and stuff like that. But you learn to embrace we are different in all different levels. And that is the thing, that exposure of kids into all these other walks of life. Because when you nest them, the minute they go out there, they suffer with that adjustment. So you see that. And then now, even like now, when I would knock at people's doors and like, not today, come tomorrow, you don't give up. You keep coming. That rejection for those ones are like, you know, madharau zinakwanga. I said you kwanga kwa gate. Nyinyi watu wa, you know, but now.
I know. Sometimes when I listen to people talking about their sales experiences, I think about myself as the recipient of a sales rep. You know, the way you just.
I don't have time. I'm like, let's not have eye contact, because if I look at your eyes, you think I'm okay. I'm interested. I'm not interested at all. You know, people say when you look at that's like an LPO. You know, half the work is done.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Actually, and those people are so aggressive. They don't take no for it.
Because you know, you'll walk the whole, I tell you, you're not eating water, everything you have to count. If I don't sell, I'm telling you, that life was hard. But it's the other thing is like, it builds your emotional, you know, muscles, the intelligence. I'd be able to tell, like, here, if I push a bit, you know, you read people's body language, and you see how welcome unajoi panadanganywa tu mchana, you know, so all those things. And right now, as a business person and as an employee, I'm able, even when I'm doing my interviews, you can see the resilience from, because I like know you apart from your CV. You know, then I know if you have the soft skills that go that extra mile in the things that you do. And the things that your parents won't teach you, only the world can teach you.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what? Allow me to interrupt and ask you. Now, when you have a very difficult life, What it does is that it makes you work very hard, and it makes you change your socioeconomic status, and you're able to have more in terms of material and in terms of financial. And what happens sometimes when that happens is that you become very, it becomes a disadvantage to your children, because number one, they're not going to hustle the way that you did, and they're not going to have that tenacity, that grit, because whatever they ask you for, you give. Also, they can see that we have. So already they lose something that you
share your story.
How can you give that back? Or is it just something that is not possible? Like, and the cycles of life. That's why you see a poor person becomes middle class, then they become very wealthy, and then the children of this person they go down, and then the circle of life.
I think there is one thing about, you see, the way we used to be told, I was number one every time, but then you aspire to be number. Do we have those sessions where like, let me tell you our days? Or is it like, I'm working hard, I have no time for you?
You can't even talk.
Exactly. So I share a story. I took my son to Kisii. I don't remember the last time I was in Kisii. And I told him stories. Nilikuwa nabeba maji kutoka pale mpaka pale. So he appreciates where you come from, know? And like, if there's something special he wants, we peg it to an achievement.
Okay.
You understand? They have to work for it. Why do you deserve it? It's not just because you want. Because that's how they get to understand, I don't get everything that I want. Or if I would want for them to have something and I can't provide. The same thing I was saying, conversation. They understand. And they know, like, my car, I tell them, don't floss my car.
It's not
you
yours.
Work for your own. You understand? They don't get that ownership of like
entitlement.
I want, because you see, like what you're saying, like in the middle, I notice, when you overhear them when they're playing, then you get to see the things you don't see, the unseen. So I picked that. Us guys are because we moved from because we moved, he's seen the gradual change. So he's like, us guys are now tumefika. I'm like, dude, my life, this is my who works here, I go to work. You go to school to work to create a similar life, if not better. I went to, and I tell him my story. When I was called to Alliance, I wanted to go to Precious Blood because these were my reasons. When I got to this, so he understands that choice. Because also giving them choice teaches them that it's not always one way, and then also to listening to both sides of the story. Because my things, your things. We have that clear demarcation. Even
no confusion.
To see me, no overlaps here. If it is mine, I choose. Like, there is a day I told him, you walk, you find us there. You see, that teaches him a lesson. It's not a guarantee because mom's car is here, I can ride in it. You understand? You get, so they have to know that this is a privilege. Not everyone has it. And for me to get to where mommy is, because I'm teaching you business. Because there are days I take him to my office and understand, like, file those, this is how filing is done. You understand? I'll punch this, or let him understand how things work, or how when you're dealing with clients, they see it. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, I would love you to learn this so that one day I can leave it for you. But you still have to qualify to get this. It's not at your rite of passage, or like if you want to do this. And what he went and did, he has put his heart in trying to draw, and he's perfected it. And he's writing his own stories. You understand? He started writing, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's where I'm failing. I should start publishing his books. Because he's doing comics. That was about the moment.
Like surprised the kind of confidence it will give him, because he's going to see that something he's done is being appreciated by the world, and if people can even pay for it, wow, they're better.
We have entered a new age where that traditional setting of you finish school, graduate, get a good grade, get a good job, it has been really ruffled up, disrupted. And now children, I believe, should be allowed to enterprise as early as possible. Even at 5 years, akipata kakitu, like ka advert or whatever.
Their videos are trending. And here sometimes we really want to just to limit, because also it's something new even for the parents. You know what I mean?
I think that's the new thing that parents in our age are facing. Just the fact that your child can make money.
Like during COVID,
why not?
Who was able to do some online sales because children, like let's say in high school, they've got phones, you know. So the child was able to buy themselves a pair of shoes that was costing 3,000. Now when it was time to go back to school, the child was confused because they're like, you know, you're telling me to go to school, and when I tell you to buy me a pair of shoes, which I want, which is this amount of money, you can't. Now me, I've reached a point where I can because I know how to sell. Na shule kudu. I mean, ni kama niko poa na vile naendelea.
I know.
And you see, that becomes a very tricky situation for the parent. And a lot of parents will say, you're being rude, this is doing nini. But you see what? That's a challenge.
And a lot of parents will also say, stop that hustle you're doing.
Stop it.
Stop it completely, in fact.
Bring that
but
phone.
you see, the thing is, they need to understand there is time for everything. Remember that famous saying, there is time for everything.
Time for everything,
Yeah,
yes.
and they also say, there is this one that they say, the way you raise a child, they will never depart from it. There's a verse like that, right?
He should go, and when he's old,
he will not depart from it. Now, this child just discovered, had you instilled like business has sustainability, needs time input, needs scalability. So for him, he's thinking like a child, like I've done this now. So you should ask him, okay, so now if this trend ends, because it's COVID, COVID will come and go, and then what?
What next?
You understand? So they need to, you teach them how to see the bigger picture by explaining the cycle of making money, how to use money, how to relate with money. Because that's a topic that we either never get, because money is the root of all evil.
The love of money.
You know. So it's basic principles and the things that you instill and how you communicate to your children. Money is good and money is bad.
And also teaching children about expenditures. I feel like the moment they start making money and if they get to that place where they feel like I shouldn't go to school, then you begin to tell them, okay, give me for rent.
Start knowing that this man is not all yours.
This man pay for us rent.
For rent.
Give me 30% of your ice cream.
30%. That's 30%. That's
painful.
So that's but you see, they'll understand the tax part of it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, what was I saying? Do you involve your kids in budgeting? Like my son is in boarding. I tell him, do your budget. Then he brings, you know. Then when we go shopping, do you teach your children, is it quality, quantity, whatever? When I'm broke, I'm like, we're picking the cheapest. Roho safi. When we are okay, like we can ride on this. So they understand that. And like now when I was saying, like if my son wants this, like the young ones, because there are times if you show, you can take this, they'll want that, they'll want, choose. Which one do you want?
Yeah, this,
choose one, this or that.
Choose one.
Yeah.
Decision making.
So even him, if he picks like 5 pens over 3, I'm like, you wrote 3, why are you picking? Whatever, this is your money. Have you calculated? Is it enough? This is how much I need you to work with. You see, that way he will understand. I just can't pick haphazardly and work with your list and tick. And work with your list. That is responsibility. Because even that means in everything else, there will be budgeting, not just because he's there. And that thing about technology, because this one hit me hard over COVID. I'm like, he's very good he's a mathematician, my eldest.
Okay.
He's the ones who get 199 in math, science, 90, whatever. So we are fine. But we are very bad in Swahili and, you know, not extremely bad, but that's according to his ranking. But then he's extremely good with computers, creating platforms. Me, I'm like, I don't even understand. He's a gamer. Uko is telling me I'm the top in CG. What I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about? You know, he's telling me, I want to teach you so you understand, then one day we can play together. I'm like, bruh, I ain't got that time. But then now when you sit back and relax and like your child is inviting you into their space. They're giving you an opportunity to bond. They're giving you an opportunity to learn what it is that they enjoy. You see, the way like this day that a 4-year-old has a phone. Where? Me, my house, it was age appropriate. You understand the terms and conditions, and we are together. So I was very scared of giving my son a phone. He only got his phone when he was 12? No, last year he was 13 when he became a teenager.
Which phone did you get him?
No, I got him this Safaricom offer thing.
Oh, not an iPhone.
Please. How many years did it take me to get my iPhones? You feel like my son has to have the best. Why do they deserve the
feeling that love is giving the most expensive?
And it's small things, but you see those things of entitlement. Because you can imagine there is someone who's worked, even a CEO, someone who can't afford an iPhone, you know, a hustler who SME. but then your child has the latest iPhone.
Yeah.
You understand? Do you think they'll ever respect that?
bubble.
Like, me, I can afford you, you can. What are you telling me?
Just a quick one. How do you deal with, Mom, everyone in my class has a phone. How do you deal with that?
No, that I had to, it's still part of the communication. I'm like, for me, I don't think you're ready. It is us. It's not about, you see, that's pressure, teaching them about peer pressure.
Yeah.
So, because that we had that conversation, and he was like, no, I was the only one who didn't have, but I was okay with it because you explained.
Yeah.
Why? Because one, why do you need it? It's time for school. Focus. If I need you, I'll call the nanny if you're home. If you're in school, you don't need a phone. It's not even allowed. So I make an investment for it to come and sit here. What for? You had a tablet that was for interactive and all these other things. That is okay because there is a benefit to your growth. I have a phone because who are you calling?
I know.
You tell me, who is he calling if not me? And then we are complaining, oh, pornography, oh, this. Yet, you're giving them the leeway to actually,
have those.
it's like you're giving your child to the world. Then when the world dents them, you're complaining, oh, the world is. It's like this story of guys who are like, oh, Akode this, Akode that. How did they get access? How did your kid get to go? Akode didn't come to TV. So you give them the phone. That's how they went to do Twitter, whatever. And there is the rule, before you sign up to any social media, I have password, I have controls, I have all those things. And I ask for that phone anytime. And I can go through.
Look at the history.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's just how you set up those boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries are one of the very key. They understand why and why not. But otherwise, if it's given freely, there is no attachment. Even all my fears, I can call 20 times. You're like, I think it was in the bedroom, you know. So he's not attached to it.
Yeah, that's true. And guess what, guys? This time is not on our side. We need to give our parting shots. So please give us a parting shot for the viewer. And then, but we've learned so much.
I wish there was more time. But just to my fellow parents and everyone listening, all our listeners, and future parents, because maybe you don't have a child now, but you will be a parent. So look at the best, learn from every action, and mold what it is you would like that prepares your child for the future. Because remember, the past informs the future, but at the same time, the things in the past that maybe were not working well. So embrace what it is, and also treat your child as your child, and teach them the core values: integrity, society, respect. Those are the things that will go longer. When you're not even there, they'll have something to root for. They'll hold them fast. Because if you guard them too much also and not guide them at the same time, when they go out, like they say, asiyefunzwa na mamaye hufunzwa na ulimwengu, and you might not like what it is that the world gives to your children.
How can people reach you? Andy Speaks, what are your social media channels?
Oh yeah, for Andy Speaks, for special needs persons, on Twitter we are at Andy Speaks 4, number 4. On Instagram we are Andy Speaks. We have a Facebook group for special needs parents that is Andy Speaks for special needs person -SNP.
Okay.
So there we have discussions, encouragement, challenges. And personally, on Twitter, it's Moraa Sylvia, and on Instagram, Sylvia Mochabo.
Wow,
Facebook,
what a pleasure it has been.
Thank you very
to interact with you, you know. I've learned so much, and I've been so challenged. And great pleasure.
Oh, pleasure to be here also.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. My take home is just aspire to raise a whole person. Thank you so much for your company, and we'll see you on the next episode. Stay tuned to the rest of the programming. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.